Is anybody reading the little news bits?
Yeah.
So one was about the IRS telling Californians, don't file so quickly because there's still a question about that the refunds, well, not the refunds, the I don't know what to call them, stimulus or the credits. Yeah, they were gas. I don't know what the purpose was,
Oh, yeah.
but the cards and that, their income. So technically they should be taxable at the federal level, but the IRS hasn't decided how to handle that. And California is not the only state that did that. So now they said, wait until we figure it out, and then we'll let you know, and then file.
What? And they only give us until April to do it.
Yeah.
And then wait.
Right. And then they're going to be backlogged. The other thing they just did is they just told all the scammers now, hey, you got an extra few months, because one of the suggestions always is do your taxes as soon as you can, because if somebody gets your social security number and files on your behalf and gets your refund,
Yeah.
you're stuck. And it's funny it works that way, because if you call up the IRS and say, somebody stole my check, they say, oh, that's so bad for you, but we already sent the check, so nothing we can do. But if you do it the other way, oh, I'm sorry, IRS, but it looks like they stole your check.
Yeah.
They're like, well, you still got to pay it.
I know.
So it doesn't work both ways. Anyway.
I already scheduled mine for Saturday.
Yeah, that you could just, what you could do is, it's a pain, but you can take it as income. I think they'll probably not count it, but you can take your chances and still file. And what you have to do is do an amended return afterwards. But that way you're safe both ways.
I always pay, so.
Yeah.
Boy. What difference?
Well, anytime you make a mistake, you can file an amended return.
Yeah.
So it's not hard, especially.
Well, they're fun when you're trying to get money back.
Yeah.
When you do an amendment, they're like, oh no, sorry.
But you'll notice how people, they're intimidated by the IRS and everybody's afraid of them. So we had a student, his daughter just graduated college and she knew everything, right? He was telling us how she just, she's got all the world figured out. So she called him up one day, panicked, and she just got a call from the IRS. And they said that she had done her taxes completely wrong. She owed money and the police were on the way, but if she wants to settle it now, they'll fix it and call the police off. So they wanted her checking account. And she said, I don't have a checking account. And they said, that's okay, go buy some Apple iTunes cards and read us the numbers over the phone and we'll take that. And so we told her, well, don't do it. She said, too late, I already did. He said, that was a scam. The IRS doesn't take Apple iTunes cards. What are they going to do? Listen to music while they're doing tax returns? She said, can I get it back? I said, no, that's why they wanted those numbers, is now they're selling them for 10 cents on the dollar or whatever on the black market. And yeah.
So, IRS don't call.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They never call. They'll send you a letter. I mean, they will send you a nasty registered letter first. Yeah. And then if you call them and leave a message, they can call you back, but they just don't initiate calls. And neither does anybody else. No. Including, I got one from the Social Security Agency. Yeah, like, what? Nope, that's not what we call it. Yeah, somebody has stole my social security number and I need to call them right away to fix it. So, if they put that much effort into it, just come up with a real job or something these days. You can do all kinds of stuff on the internet. Do that instead, and it's legit.
Now you get all these emails, text messages. Oh, somebody shared this link. Click on it. No.
Well, there's this one guy. He posted his videos. He worked for the telephone company, and he got all the phone calls, and he decided he was going to use his expertise, so that as people called, he was going to clear the numbers. It's called whitelisting. So the message was, hey, this is Dave. Have you called me before? Sorry, I'm trying this new thing. Go ahead and leave a message. I'll call you back. Put your number on the list, and you're all good. But if you're a scammer, forget it. I'm not taking scam calls. Something like that, right? And he thought that would cut down, like maybe half of the calls. Nope, cut down almost all of them. because they're using computerized machines, and it doesn't cost them anything to dial. Not even a human being is not sitting there waiting for you to pick up. So that's why when you answer the phone, if there's a delay and you hear a click and then they say hello, it's probably an auto dialer. So he was quite encouraged and decided to go further. So he set up his phone with these recordings. And what he would say was, hello, yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Okay. Like he was listening to whatever they're saying, because they always start with their spiel before you can interrupt them. So it worked. They would follow along. And so then he started getting creative. So like he would answer, yeah, hello. And they'd start. And this was all on his end recording. And then he'd record the answers and listen to them later. So he would say, hello. And then, wait a while and say, I was at a party last night. You just woke me up. I'm sorry. That sounds interesting. Could you start over again? And his thinking is, the longer I can keep them on the line, the more they're not bothering anybody else. So anyway, you can hear them, and they think they're talking to somebody, and they're kind of funny to listen to. And then he had another one. We'd say, hello, yes. Oh, okay, that sounds good. Hey, hold on a second. Honey, the dog's in here again. Can you get the dog out of the den? Yeah, okay. What were you saying again? Oh, wait. Oh, he just threw up. Oh, can you come fix this? Get the dog out of here. He's doing this, and it sounds realistic, and they're listening on the other end. Okay, because they think they got somebody. Okay, now he's interested. He's talking, and he just goes on and on. So you can buy his services too if you want to do it as well. So you just download the software and then you route all the calls through your computer.
Yeah, now just if I don't know the number, if they really want to talk to me, they can leave a message.
My mom used to get those calls all the time. She'd answer. I said, Mom, don't. If it's somebody you know, caller ID will say so. But it has to be specific, like your doctor's name. It can't say your doctor, because that's somebody spoofing it. And I said, and if it's important, they'll leave a message. They'll tell you.
Yeah, that's what I say. Especially now, like phone companies will say scam likely.
Right. Well, she got one. It was her grandson calling from Mexico. He and his friends got arrested, and they needed bail money right away, or they're going to be stuck there for life or something like that. And she said, really? What are you doing out of first grade? Or ask him, what's he doing out of first grade? I said, I know that's funny, Mom, but now you just told them you got a first grade grandson. So next time they call, hi, we're calling from the school. Your grandson just got in trouble in the first grade. And they'll know. I said, you just don't know what they're going to do with that information. I said, just hang up.
But in Mexico, my mom gets those calls all the time. One time they're like this lady crying and mom, and she's like, I don't even have kids.
Yeah. Surprise. So again, let's put all this effort and time into a legit business. They'd be rich. All right, so if you launch QuickBooks, we're going to go ahead and start with our QuickBooks here. So let's go into our vendors and make some orders to get started. So we get paid and pay. Vendors. And just real quick, I think I mentioned this before. When you're dealing with your vendors, oops, we're creating the purchase orders at the vendor level. Make sure that when you're using your vendors, select the ones that are your suppliers. So like here's an attorney's office. So I'm not going to order teddy bears from the attorney's office. They'll think I'm nuts. So try to keep them from the correct vendor like we've been using. So I'll start with ABC and I'm going to create purchase order. So we'll go ahead and do 3, receive them in full, and pay the bills.
You said 3, right?
Yes. So in my case, I accidentally did 2 purchase orders from the same vendor. That's okay, I can fix it by going to that purchase order and just changing the vendor and save and close. So I've got 3 open purchase orders. And I'll create the bills. Okay. And then pay the bills. I have 3 open bills. I'll make the payment. Now remember yesterday we uploaded some new vendors and they had some balances. They're not showing up here at the top. Like for example, my FedEx. So you'll see we've got Federal Express here. Yeah. I owe them 12.22. But they're not part of the inventory system and the ordering system. That's going to be payment for services, for mail services. So we're going to handle those separately. It's a different kind of vendor.
What did you say? Something services?
It's like, you know, you don't get a box of FedEx shipping. Well, actually, you kind of do, but it's a service. We hired them to ship a payment or ship an envelope or something. So, right, or a package. So it's 12.22. So that's not what we're making a purchase order for. We're not putting them in the warehouse. It's a service. And so you'll see that down here, even with like the fabrics and things. So those will be expenses you're going to have that aren't part of the regular order flow system. That makes sense? And that's going to include, I don't think we have it in here yet, but our rent, utilities, and things like that. So up here, they're not going to show. I have to draw a rectangle here. There you go. Ready to get them in? Balances are 0. So this is only going to be for the orders that we're doing now until they get overdue. Then they might. Okay, so it was really easy to order something, right? This part was easy. I'm going to show you another way now to do this. If this is confusing, forget it. You don't have to do it this way ever. You could do it either way, but right now we've been starting with our vendor and saying, okay, from this vendor, we're going to order such and such. Let's go over here to the left to products and services and make it easier or more confusing, depending on your point of view, I guess. Okay, so here's my products. I got teddy bear. I'm going to click on the first product and edit. So over the right-hand side here, you click edit. So I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom till I see preferred vendor. So I'm going to click on the preferred vendor list, and there's all my vendors, including FedEx, but also my ABC warehouse, right? So I'm going to click on ABC warehouse. So what I'm telling the computer is I normally buy these from ABC Warehouse. All right, so this is going to create a shortcut for me. Let's save and close. And so now when I say do a purchase order, and I say, okay, I'll order some teddy bears. Instead of going to the vendor and picking ABC Warehouse and then adding teddy bears, I can put a check mark here on the left-hand side, select teddy bear. And then over on the right-hand side, you've got this button here, batch actions, and you'll see reorder. All right, click that.
It says just active. Mine says-
Did you put a check mark on the left-hand side? You have to have a check mark there. See, if I take it off, yeah,
Oh, there it is.
you only get it when it's on. So I can click reorder. And it didn't work. Huh. Now. We're supposed to fill in the vendor. That's why. Okay, so what did I say you're supposed to do when it does something confusing? I'm going to refresh first. Okay. Okay, so check mark teddy bear, batch actions, reorder, and
Okay.
huh. Huh. Okay, forget everything I just said. It's not working. What's supposed to happen is I can put the teddy bear here as the item, and then automatically, did I save it? Yeah, it shows up with the right vendor. And then you don't have to remember specifically who you want it. And you can always override that. You can always pick another vendor. And look at my item. Yeah, I did it. Let me look at one thing real quick. I don't think it's something you have to turn on, because if you did, it wouldn't show up there as preferred vendor as an option. Good luck. Hmm. Let me get back to you on that one. All right, so let's go back to vendors and figure that one out later. So that was supposed to be a way to connect the two together. You can still use it this way. You just go, you look at the item first, but there's a lot of extra clicking. All right, so let's go back to our purchase orders. Now let's make two purchase orders in large quantities. We're going to only receive half of each one. Start to practice that. Pay the bills for the half you received, and then close the other half. So that's what we did yesterday.
What do you change the quantity receipt? Because I just noticed that it says receipt over here. So do I change it on the quantity or on the?
Yes, when you go to the bill, like
Also
I'm-
on the purchase order.
okay,
Don't I change it on the purchase
No.
order?
not the beginning, because you're gonna set,
At the beginning, I made the purchase order.
okay,
Okay. And
Now
I
you-
saved it,
okay,
and then I went back to purchase order.
like this. Yeah, you could do it that way. There's nothing wrong with it. Because, so here's the scenario you would use this under. You mailed out the purchase order. They called up immediately and said, hey, Dan, your purchase order here. I got it, but bad news. We're out of teddy bears. So you say, okay, fine. I'll mark this as closed here. Like that. Or you could leave this as one. And then you can mark it closed like this. Right? I say, okay, but how are we on fans? Oh yeah, we got lots of those. I'll send those. Okay, great. So I'm gonna cancel the teddy bear, save and close. That way we did it before, we did it the opposite way. That's fine. I mean, like I said, there's a good scenario we would do this. So now I wait. I wait and wait. Oh, here comes the fan. So I open the box, there it is. And there's my bill. So now I can create the bill. This time, when I click add, yeah, the teddy bears don't show up because I already closed that out. And then we're just waiting on this. So sure.
Okay, but technically you should do the bill and then you.
Technically you should do whatever happened in the real world. I mean, that's because otherwise, so in this scenario, I'd have to put a little note down here if I wanted to do it later. I think better just to, you got the information, do it, be done with it. And now I don't have to remember, oh, what was about this purchase order? It's all done.
So it's okay to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so remember I told you about paperless offices? I admit I'm one of the worst offenders. Whenever I send something, if I got a copy of a purchase order they sent me, I send them a copy of that too, along with my documents, whatever it is, because I want to make it as easy as possible for them to match up. Right? Oh yeah, okay, this is the right thing. I'm going to process it now. So in that case, if I were your vendor, I would have sent you a copy of the purchase order, a little note on it, canceled per conversation, 2723. So I would do that, but not everybody's going to do that. And save and close. And now I don't have to go back to that purchase order. See, I don't have it open anymore because I already closed the one line. And now the other line's automatically closed when I receive the items.
Okay, because I only ordered one item, but I was receiving half, so I should have done two items.
No, how much did you could have
I
ordered?
10 and I only.
Yeah, that works too.
Okay.
Either way, we're just going to short the purchase order.
Okay, so on the memo, I would write, only received 5.
I would, because I like memos. Just going through the day, and you think, oh, I'll never forget this. And then 2 weeks later, all the other stuff that's happened, you do forget. So notes are like notes to your future self. Yeah, question?
Are we gonna close the PO?
Yes. Close the remaining. So in this case, I'm doing it after. So I've got the fountain pens and the bill here, but the dog leashes, this is where I change to 0 before I pay it, because I'm not paying for anything I didn't get. So now I'll create the bill.
So,
So you can go back if you remember who the vendor was. Just click on the vendor, and clicking on any vendor will show their history. So like ABC, if I just click on them, here's all their history, and there is a purchase order, and I click on the purchase order. Okay, this is when I did it at the beginning. But you can always edit the purchase order and make changes. The only caution is memos all the time. Changing numbers, rarely. Hopefully. See, one of the things about a purchase order, it's almost like a contract. It's not a contract, but it's some kind of documentation that you're committing to purchase something. So if there is a run on a product and you get your document over to them, you are more likely to get it before somebody who makes a phone call and says, I need such and such, because the document is, I got a little force of documentation. If it ever came to a lawsuit, I say, hey, here's a purchase order. You ordered them. You send this purchase order? Yes. Okay, so you committed. So that's why it's a good thing to send out the purchase order and keep lots of notes on it, whatever you did, as much as possible. And you can also tell which ones you did like multiple lines on, because it'll say split. So I got my open bills. Oh, I didn't pay one from last time. So I made a mistake. I didn't remember I did, I said do 3. I didn't pay this one. So as I come around now to pay it, look what I got on the left-hand side. I got 2 bills. So I can choose to pay one and not the other by just putting a check mark there, and the computer recalculates it, or just pay them all in one check. Or I should say one payment, in case you're doing it by credit card. So as long as it has check marks there, it'll pay them together. And usually you do. People expect that all the time. And I prefer it because I don't want to see a whole bunch of pieces of paper on my desk. The more you have on your desk, the more likely something's about to slip over the side and get lost. So there we go.
Do we make payments?
Yeah, please. So in the open bills, pay those off. The other little article in the email today was about a bookkeeper. And you see these all the time. Somebody who's a trusted bookkeeper who betrayed that trust. And again, well, it's just like with the IRS, is people who don't do bookkeeping think it's a magic art or something. They don't understand it completely, and they know there are lots of rules, but they're focused on their business or something else. They're not bookkeepers. So when they hire a bookkeeper, they expect that person to do everything honestly, and that doesn't always work out. And they had there was one story of a bookkeeper who got fired from one place because she embezzled. So she went to another place and said, I have all this work experience. They hired her. She embezzled again, and they fired her, and she kept doing it from company to company. So finally got caught. Because you eventually do get caught. Tomorrow, in fact, we're going to learn how to embezzle from your company. No, we're going to learn how to catch embezzlers.
Okay.
Well, I told you before, QuickBooks records every transaction. But the thing is, when you run those reports, you have to know what to look for. So there is something to knowing about bookkeeping. But if you know how it's done, then you know what to look for. Because nobody ever puts in the memo, embezzling from the boss, right? So you kind of have to watch the transactions. Right. and you'll see it all. I mean, the one I included was one, it was a nonprofit. And then once,
Oh, those are-
so once that happens, all the people who donate to the nonprofit, well, oh, she was stealing. Well, I'm not going to donate anymore. And it makes it really hard to recover from that for the whole nonprofit, which is sad. But
Into nonprofits that they can get.
yeah, but I'll tell you honestly, when you're trying to catch somebody, make them take their vacation time. For our programs, we have to be audited. So the bookkeeper goes through and checks things off. And he said, okay, I got some new questions to ask. And this happened, I guess about 7 or 8 years ago. But he said, so in our new standards, we ask, has every person, yes, every person who handles the books taken their vacation time? And I said, yeah, okay. I said, why do you ask that? That's kind of odd. He said, because a lot of fraud is discovered when somebody who's doing the fraud takes off for vacation. Then somebody has to fill in and they'll start asking questions like, I don't understand this. What is this? What's this transfer into this other account? And people say, I don't know that account. Let's find out. Let's call the bank. And they say, oh, it belongs to Dan. Oh, really? So there you go. So it's that's why the fraudsters are smart. They never take their vacation time because then somebody's going to come in and find it. All right. So now we got our vendors done. Let's go to our customers. So we still have some overdue invoices. We're going to leave those and work on those today. Before we do, let's take of the customers you added when we started. Let's make 3 invoices. Then receive payments to checking. No, use old people. Yeah, just because the new people have some late fees and we're going to get into those. I'll tell you what, as long as they have a 0 balance, you can use them. So like Allie, she's a new one, but her balance is 0. Yeah, anybody with a 0 balance, but you're probably pretty familiar with the ones you enter, like Merry Christmas here. So you can just do yours. Because all of yours should have balances of 0. Three. So my 3 are mixed in to the open invoices. Again, at the top here, I can see 4 are overdue. That's from the customers we picked in yesterday. So I'm going to click on this, open invoices. And I'm just going to receive the payments in the 3 I just made. So again, here's a clue, although this is not a standard clue. I didn't put phone numbers when I created them, but when we imported them, they all got phone numbers. But if you ever had a doubt, like here's Jean Denham, I can click open invoice. It takes me to her account. And it'll show, here it comes. That was an opening balance overdue invoice. Okay, so she's not one. And I can go back. And I'll start with Merry Christmas. So save and close. Sarah Smith. And Walgreens. And I've still got the 4 overdue. That's right. Look at my chart of accounts. View rich from the basic checking. And you should see the 3 deposits. And then the payments we made earlier. So when you get that done, I'm going to show all my customers. We'll still have some that owe us some money. We get back from break, we're going to set up late fees. So it's 6:50, it's break time. We come back from break, we'll be at 7 o'clock, and those customers are going to hit with late fees. That's when you get phone calls from people you have never heard, or I haven't heard from for a long time. I just got this late fee.
I never received the original.
Yeah.
That was our excuse when with the paper invoices all the time. We never received
For
it.
sure.
I don't know what happened.
Lost in the mail.
Yeah. That's why now I do email. You cannot tell me you did not receive it. I have it right here.
If they open it.
Yeah.
Oh, you can actually send it like we receive and everything. Mhm.
And then you call them up. Okay, just got the email. Did you get it? Or just sent the email. Did you get it? If they say yes, then you put a little notation. It was the whole checks in the mail thing. Then my auto insurance company knows when they drop it off in the mailbox now. They said, oh, it was in your mailbox 2 days ago on the 5th or whatever. How'd you know that? Oh, we have a deal with the post office. They inform us when it's put in the box. Yeah. I said, okay, let me go through the pile.
What happens when they give your mail to somebody else?
Yeah.
That happens in where I live.
We get that guy around the corner. We're 1502. He's 1512 or something like that. It's close. but it's a different street. But he gets our mail and we get his mail. He always is, he's mad all the time. I don't. I just take it over to him, walk the dog, walk over. Here's your mail. But every time he brings it over, they did it again. I can't believe this. What are they doing? And he gives me the whole speech. It wasn't me.
I just put it back out. Wrong ad. I put a sticky note, wrong address.
Yeah, you can do that too. But I figure if it's important, because we did have a neighbor who was asking me, do you get any of my mail? Because it was a paycheck and we really need it. Sweating it out. So they said they delivered it. And I said, no, we get it every day and didn't see it. So I like to bring it to them, unless it looks like junk mail, then yeah, I'll put it in the slot. Except I figure if they messed it up the first time, I might get it again the second time.
Because ours is 12.39 and we get 13.29 all the time. I mean, I transpose numbers too, so.
Well, when they're replaced with robots, that won't happen.
146, they're 147.
Mhm.
They end up with our mail and we end up with theirs. Sometimes they switch the boxes. So they have a full box, so they just put them in the slots.
Oh, yeah.
So they will probably don't realize that they're on the neighbor's phone. I was looking for a social security card and it got to like down the street. And the lady just walked in because we all know each other. So she's like, oh, I got this. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Good thing they're honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed when I was going back to the purchase order and writing down or inputting what I actually received, when the gal said, why can you go back to close it? Well, I forgot that too, so I went back and it said closed already. So
Any vendor in which you have received their full purchase order is automatically stamped closed. So, like, I start with ABC. So if I look at them, yeah, I think this was my first purchase order. So see, it's stamped closed up here. And the reason is, I mean, I can see it's closed here. I never look there. I always go to where the rubber meets the road down here with the numbers. So ordered 3, got 3, closed. The minute you get 3, this line is closed. There's only one line of the purchase order, so the whole purchase order is automatically closed.
now, did you input that 3 there?
No. I did when I created the purchase order. This was the very first thing we did. Remember, everything was okay. So I ordered them, got them, paid for them. Everything was hunky dory. Then every time this is fulfilled, it's going to automatically put a check mark here, and then at the top, you get that closed. So you can override it if you ever need to for some reason to reopen it here this way. But usually you don't. I mean, if something they said, you know, we've got 3. If we have 4 left, if you throw 1 more in the order, I'll give it to you half price. I might say, okay. So I might go back and adjust this to 4 and then change the amount when I pay for it. Something like that. But usually, once it's closed, you leave it closed. And you say, say it's a onesie, so I'll probably just do that. But if it was like, I got 10 more, I'll give you half price. If you take them all. Okay, let me do another purchase order for that. I'll email it to you in about 5 minutes. That way, because this was an order, they completed it. I really don't want to go change a lot of stuff if I don't have to. I'd rather just do a new one.
received.
It doesn't cost anymore, yeah, especially if you're emailing it.
It doesn't cost you either.
Right. Because keeping these things straight, I mean, I'm amazed how people used to do this on paper and pencil and files and everything.
They have the 4-page, so we have the old printers for the purchase orders and the tax, they call them for the material to go out to the job. So they have to print it like 3 pages, one will go to the warehouse to receive it, one will go to the accounts payable, and the other one kept with the original packet. Yeah, that way they could receive the material and check it one by one with the package list and check the material to make sure it all came in. And then, when it was happening. And it was like a 10-page purchase order. That was fun.
One of my first jobs was for a temp agency, and I went to a company, and whatever they told me to do, I got done. I said, anything else you got? I'm done. Oh, okay. Well, there's filing. You want to do the filing? I said, sure. That's what I'm here for. So they had the cabinets like this all the way across the room, and there's these piles. Nobody wanted to do the filing. So that's okay. You're paying me whatever I do. So I just started doing the filing and got all caught up.
Yeah, I did that for all the project managers. Oh my God. I think that was the worst. Like find a job folder and put all this information in it. And some of them were like this big. They don't fit. I need a binder. Yeah. So I would say I don't have anything to do. So I don't want to go to the project manager's filing. I'm gonna have to say that.
Yeah. That's what my dad used to say. Don't volunteer for anything you don't want to do again. Because once you do it, if you do it well, now you're the filer.
Well, yeah, I have to do my own. So when it comes payable and it comes receivable, so everything, and then that. They're allowed to go to the warehouse and receive material. Thank you. They're filing. Not papers everywhere.
Well, I like things you don't have to think a lot about sometimes, like filing. You got to pay attention, but at the same time, it's kind of mundane. So that's a nice break.
There was a project manager that had folders like all over his office, like on the floor, and he knew where every single job was. So I was like, Tony, I can't find this folder. Oh, it's right here. Wow.
Good memory.
Yeah.
Did you mention in the beginning of class that we had like a SOP on this, like a standard procedure on this?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's going to be online?
Yeah, it's a PDF file. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I gotta make some updates because as you can see, they did make changes again. Like I gotta take out now the purchase order report.
Is this like the new version
Mhm.
they're using?
Yes, one of the advantages to doing the software as a service is you're always using the newest version. One of the disadvantages is you're always using the newest version. So if they make a change, surprise,
The one I'm working on is completely different.
are you using an online version?
Yes.
Okay, so let's take a look at that real quick. That's the other thing with QuickBooks is if I just go into QuickBooks,
Mhm.
oh yeah, they messed up my report, so I'm mad at them. So see this one? It says add.
Mhm.
I'm gonna click on this link. I could go down here because I'm mad. I'm gonna make them pay 2 cents to Google for my click. So you can see you got different versions,
Mhm.
and same with even online. Like we're doing the small business version, and it also depends on what type of business you said you were when you did the setup. So you will see a lot of different layouts,
Okay.
a lot of different possibilities. And like even our license, I think we say 3 users, so you can get up to 100 users. But then it is going to start looking different because you have more resources to deal with those.
Okay.
So you'll see this.
Oh, the price is up to- There's one that says only 3, I think.
So like this one, the simple start, 1 user, there's up to 5, plus, advanced up to 25, and then Premier Plus. The desktop, that means install on 1 computer,
Yeah.
and you can see the differences up here. So as this used to be a lot simpler, but now you kind of have to watch for that. And then these are all grouped like this.
Yeah.
These are the online versions.
Strange.
But if you start with a simple one and you need to expand, it's easy to upgrade.
Yeah, because the one I've been really using is just only 3 users, not up to 5.
Could be. Well, and then this changes all the time too, as they go through modifications and competition, and maybe their sales go down. So they'll say, you know what, we need more sales. Let's up these. Instead of 5, we'll do 7 and see if that gets more people to sign up, because maybe they're thinking about, well, I really need the advance, but I don't want to pay for 25. Okay, but yeah, all right, I can do 7 or whatever. So who knows? That's we used to print books for the class, but it changes so much.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep up. And I told you, they don't always tell you when they're going to change it. They just do it.
Yes.
And it's like, surprise, where's my report?
Yeah, because when I started seeing this, I was like, why does it look different? Like everything is like different places.
And like I said when we started, this is mine's a convenience store. This is a very strict retail operation, so no services, right? But you could have a business that's all you do is services, or you could do a combination. And even with the products, so far, we're just I'm buying teddy bears and reselling them. The other thing I could do is buy teddy bears, use makeup on them, make a new teddy bear, the dancing bear or something, and that becomes kind of my own product that I've modified. Well, I have to buy those supplies to do that, right? So that's a different kind of business too, where you're converting a raw product into something else. And I'll tell you, if you want to make $1 million, you know what Kickstarter is? Kickstarter is a website. It's an idea site. And what it is, it's supposed to be ideas you have. And if you come up with a prototype of a product, you post it online. If people like it, they're not investing in your company. But what they do is they give you money. And usually you have like thank yous. So what you're really doing is buying the thank yous, right? But the idea is to support the company. So one guy came up with a cooler that had a battery and a USB port, and you put chargers in. So when you go to the beach, you could charge your phone off your cooler and then listen to the radio on the cooler and things like that. So he just basically took different parts and combined them together. But it doesn't have to be electronic. It can be a new book if you want to create a book. The idea is, though, you have some kind of proof. And of course, you're supposed to do a video because now everybody's into videos. But you basically put it up there and say, look, if you give me $1, I'll send you an email with a thank you. If you give me $10, let's say, what's a good product? I got one. So like when I walk my dog, we have the scooper, picker upper. But it'd be cool to have a flashlight on it. And then I notice everybody walks with these sticks in case they get chased by a dog. I was thinking, put some kind of weapon on it in case you do get attacked by a dog. Or even, yeah, well, it's got claws like this. I was thinking if you did it like this, you might scare a dog. So anyway, let's say you do that. So you're going to take those products, glue them all together, and somehow it works. So you put that on Kickstarter. And then for $100, I'll send you one of these. For $200, I'll send you 2 of them, plus it'll have a ribbon on it, or whatever. So you do these levels so people can contribute. You're supposed to have lots of various levels. And then you advertise it. And then if people like it, they contribute. You say, it's going to take me $20,000 to get this to market. So I'm asking for $20,000. If you get more than that, you get to keep it. If you don't get enough, if you only get 19,000 at the end of your term, say 30 days, then all the money stays with those people and you don't get anything. But it doesn't cost anything either. And so there's crazy stuff on there too. So you could do something like that. And what you could do is start a business off of that. But sometimes it backfires. So there was a 3D printer maker who did that. They had a prototype, they did a video, did all the things they were supposed to do. They got overwhelmed. And that was like $3 million. And they only asked for like 50,000. But basically what they were are orders, because the top tier was to send you a 3D printer. Well, they thought, oh, this is great. Well, it wasn't so great, because it's one thing to build one, but now you have to build 200. So you got to get the suppliers all in line. They all have to be on board. And I guess you can also say when you'll ship them out. And they put like a 3-month turnaround. No way. And so they got slammed and a lot of people got mad, but they finally got them all done. But that's why if you do that, you kind of have to think ahead and give yourself lots of time and don't get too excited. And you can put a cap on it. That's what they really should have done. Is said, we're capping out at 50 bots or 50 of these things. But of course, it's hard to say no to money. Speaking of saying no to money, we have some customers who are saying no to their payments. So I'm going to go to my customer list. So you'll see I have 4 overdue. So, the general rule is you give them a call. And a lot of times, oh, I'm so sorry. I'll send it out today. Check's in the mail. We'll keep a note on the invoice and see if they do it. If they don't, you can start charging late fees. To charge a late fee, though, we have to turn on the late fee settings. So I'm going to go up to my little cog up here and go into settings. It's under account and settings. And then it's going to be under sales. Sales, the sales category, kind of makes sense, right? Because you're making sales to customers. As you scroll down, you'll see late fees. And right now it's turned off. So some companies do not do late fees. They are a hassle. And I think I mentioned this before. A lot of companies will do late fees, but it's a bluff. They don't really care to do late fees. They just want their invoices paid because they're sitting out here. They may have already paid some taxes or some fees on it because we're doing the accrual basis. They just want them paid. So the threat of a late fee, like we're going to charge you more, kind of leading to, then we'll take you to court, right? Okay, I'll just pay it and be done with it. So we're going to change that by this little pencil here and edit. So we're going to turn it on. Now, you can turn it on and never use it. And that's fine too. Let's see this little slider. I'm going to click that, and that'll turn it on. In QuickBooks, you can always charge a late fee manually, right? If you want it to automatically occur, this is what you have to do. And then what it will do is, as the invoices go out, it starts the timer. And when they're late, it'll start adding late fees. You determine the terms here. The law says, though, before you can charge late fees, you have to inform the customers that they could get a late fee before they make a purchase. Okay. So a lot of times it could just be a note like on the cash register. So sometimes you'll see it like that when it says, it used to say, if your check bounces, we'll charge a $25 fee. So you have to give them some kind of advance notice. Not that everybody's going to read it, but at least you try. So maybe a slip of paper in the invoices. Due to circumstances, we have to start charging late fees starting March 2023, something like that. So they know or should know, right? And then, of course, you document that you sent that out. So even if it's from the start, from the get-go, somebody says, I'd like to buy some products from you. Oh, we'd love to sell to you, by the way. We'll give you terms of 30 days, and we do charge late fees after the 30 days. Something like that, and preferably in writing. So then, speaking of which, you have to decide how you want to charge the late fees. So here you'll see we get a choice. We can either do it by flat fee or percentage of the remaining balance. So right now it's set to flat fee, right? I'm going to say percentage. As I click on percentage, you see the red percent showed up. When it was flat fee, it was the amount. So if I was going to do a $5 late fee, I could just do that. Or this way, with the percentage, it's a percentage of the total amount that's due. I do 2%. Don't want to be mean. Usually, it doesn't take much. It's just the idea that a late fee.
in that 30 days, it would be at 2%.
Yeah, and then you warn them, hey, you're, I'm gonna have to charge a late fee. So you'll see you could do it once per invoice, and what that means is there'll be one fee tacked on, whether it's flat or percentage, and then no more, and it stays there until they pay. Or you can do it per month. So every month there's a monthly recurring late fee. It only charges the percentage on the original amount, right? It does, if let's say I've got a $5 invoice, I got a $1 late fee. Next month, if I haven't paid it, it doesn't say, okay, now you got $6, we're gonna do percentage of that. You can't do that, but it can do another dollar on that $5, right? So it goes that way. Otherwise, it just balloons out of control. So you could see once per month, or you could do it per day. I don't know if anybody does it per day, but I'm sure it's possible, especially if you really need the money. So I'm going to do it per month. So every month they don't pay, another percentage will be tacked on. And then you can always do where it says apply a one-time flat fee and then percentages afterwards. But I'm going to leave that turned off. And then I told you businesses don't really want to do late fees. There's a grace period. You can set up a grace period. So we said the terms are 30 days. So on day 31, the late fee should trigger, right? But maybe our customers know that, and we know the mail is slow sometimes. So I'm going to give it 5 days. So what you're really doing is giving it terms of 35, but you don't tell them that, because if you tell them that, then they'll come 36 days later, right? So what it's saying is you can have a late fee, but we're going to still give the grace period after the late fee is supposed to start. But then after that, it's definitely on. You can also tell them there's no grace period. So as soon as they miss it, you miss it, it starts putting it on there. Now you can always take it off. So they call up, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to put a stamp on it. It just came back. I'll send it out now. Do I have to pay a late fee? You can say, no, that's okay. We'll waive it this time. And you go to the invoice, make a little note, and you can turn off the late fee. Just delete it.
Forgot to sign my check.
Did they catch it?
Yeah, they did. They sent it back.
Yeah.
But it turns out that it was a scammer.
Ah.
When we first opened up our business, you have to fill out all these forms back and forth. And I couldn't figure out what something was, so I asked somebody. But she looked it up online, and all these people were saying, don't respond to this person because blah, 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 they're scammers. So I never sent it.
There you go.
So I got caught halfway.
That was lucky.
Yes.
Yeah. I tried to deposit a check once and they hadn't signed it. And the bank said, I'm sorry, especially since 9/11, we've had new rules. We can't accept without signatures. You have to go back and bring it back. So okay. I did. And then I was at Costco and they used to run the checks through and I didn't sign it. And it went through and I wanted to go back to the bank. Hey, look, you said you couldn't take it, but you sure took it out of my account, right? It's just if they catch it or not. But as, like I said, checks are getting fewer and fewer. That's less of a problem. So then what it's going to do, it's going to keep track of a late fee account, meaning if they do pay the late fees, when they pay the full invoice, QuickBooks is going to say, here is how much they've earned in late fees, accrued in late fees. And then when they pay it, it's going to keep track separately from the regular invoices. So it's just called late fee, but you can call it anything you want. Punishment, something like that. So I'm going to click save. And now you'll see it's turned on. Yeah. So now it says on. But it's from this point forward. Yes. Go and cancel. Does it say on? Maybe it already saved. Okay. So what happened is, like if I go in now, well, I got it. It did say cancel save.
Okay, now. Oh, you see that.
So as long as this is turned on, this is what you need. All right, so now from this point forward, it'll start doing late fees. Well, we have some customers we imported who aren't covered under this regime.
They're
So-
not covered?
No, because like I said, from today forward, we already imported them. So everything is old business, no more. And this will happen in a business because what's, look at, I'm gonna go back to my customers. Say, I'm a nice guy. I don't like late fees. I hate paying them, and I don't want to charge people late fees. But look at this. Overdue. We've called them and called them, sent them letters. It's not working. So I hate to do it, but we're going to start charging late fees. It's only those people who are the worst. So I just turned it on. So everything up to this point, you can't do it. Now what I can do though is I can send them a letter and say, hey, deadbeat. You can't say that. Dear beloved customer, you have not paid your bill, and we have instituted a new policy of late fees. And then just what we just did, as of March 1st, 2% late fees will be charged to each invoice, and then monthly thereafter. Please help us keep our books in line. We love having a customer, blah, 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 all that stuff at the end, right? Because you try to end on a positive note and say, if you just give me your bank account, I'll take care of it for you. But you send it off. Now you have the start date, and then at that point, you can start accruing the late fees. So I'm going to click on the 4 overdue. Did you? Oh, it's okay. Did you do that today? Oh, okay. Well, here's what you could do. So go to your chart of accounts. Oh, let me do that. Wait, let me go back. I'm going to pay one right now. I'll show you how to undo it. Because you're just going to delete the payments and then they'll show back as outstanding. So if I go, so you're being too nice to them because you didn't charge a late fee. So I just do this, save and close. See, it's off my list. So now I can go back to my chart of accounts, go to my check register. That was Bob in Water. So here it is. That's one I'm going to delete. Yes. So now that invoice is not paid anymore. And when I go back, there he is again. So if you delete those, they'll show up here as still overdue. And again, it goes back to the date from the initial invoice, which was what we imported, not today. So he's not going to get off that easy. So you'll notice one of the things here on the right side on all these, you can send reminder. So if you just click on that, this would be a little email. This is the text, right? And maybe the first time you can have a nice text like this. And then if you want to do it again, you can change it. And what you could do is you keep Microsoft Word lists of reminder 1, reminder 2, reminder 3. So reminder 1 is, dear Bob, we're sending this reminder. Reminder 2 is, hey Bob, we sent you an invoice and a reminder, late fees are coming. And 3, dear Bob, kind of tired of sending these out. This is your last chance. And then you could put the number here. So you can make changes to this any way you like, but we're not going to send it. But that would be your first warning, right? Or it can be by paper. So this way, we're going to go to the one overdue invoice. I'm going to click it here. And it's an invoice for opening balance. So you can see it says opening balance. Yeah, just click on that invoice. So down here under product and service, I'm going to click on this list. And look what's there. Late fee. So because we turn it on, now this will show up on the list. So I'm going to click on late fee. one late fee, and I'm going to make it a $5 late fee. Now, late fees are not taxable, so please do not put the tax check mark there. So he owed me $75, right? What?
The rate is 5?
Yeah. I mean, you could do it percentage wise. I think, let's see. Nope. Used to be, good old days. Yeah. You'd have to do it on a separate calculator. What they used to do on the desktop version is if I wanted to charge 5%, I could do 75 times and a little ticker tape would pop up, 5, and it would do, hey, it did it. It just doesn't show the ticker tape. So let's say I wanted to charge 375%, 2%. You can type that here and calculate out $1.50. So there you go, if you want to do a percentage.
So what, wait, how did you do that?
I was just going to charge them 5, but then you questioned me. So now you're letting them off easy. So what you do is you put the amount. He owes me what? 75. All right, 75. And then on the computer, the star is times. X doesn't work. So I use the asterisk. Oh, and I always call it the asterisk, but now it's a star. But anyway, that's what you want. And then you put the percentage in. Now, you know, percentages are all decimals, right? So 6% is also 0.06. So if I want to charge 2%, I can either do 0.02 or just type in 2 and the percent sign. And then when I hit the tab key, it did the math. $1.50. Okay, so you can do it that way too if you want to do a percentage. And then even on the invoice, maybe a note here. But you gotta type it right. And you'll see now my new total is $76.50. Okay. So I save and close. And it's done. I go back to my customer list. Now Bob owes me $76.50. Well, hooray, it did the trick. So we're going to receive payment. So you can use this drop-down list and receive payment like we normally do. And you'll see now the invoice total is now $76.50. So it doesn't break out late fees when they do the payment. And I'll save and close. So that works? Did it work?
I erased them all.
Okay.
I paid everything.
Yeah. So go to your check register.
Right now.
Register on. No, those are. There's Bob. Okay, so now they're gone. So go over here to. There. So see, you got them overdue. Yeah. So we're going to go into this invoice. So we're going to add a second line here for link. Use your drop down list. So go to the amount. We'll type this number 23432. Times, so that's should be. And we'll do. You can go through receipt payment.
So that was the one you went, right?
Yeah. So now let's go to Jean and we're going to do her. So I'm going to go to the invoice. She's had her chance. So when I click one overdue invoice, it pops up Jean's history. Now she only has one invoice. It was the opening balance. Click on late fee. She has an 1,800 balance. So I'm going to do 1812 times 2%. Oops. 36 bucks. There you go. Yeah, 36.24.
So when you press a tab, it's like equal?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, you don't have to. I could just do, I'm in a hurry, times 2%. If I just, the problem with enter is that'll, I think that triggers a save and close. But I could do that. It'll still do it. It'll flash it real quick, and I can trust that it does it. But if you hit the tab key, then you're definitely get a chance to see it, and then save and close.
But you also do that, like 18 times the 2%, and send it close to the automatically.
Yeah. Now, if I had done just the $5, it would also add it automatically. So save and close. Right. Then you send that out. Okay, so here's something I would do. So if I had to send out to all my customers a notice that we're going to start charging late fees on the ones who are really the problem. See, unfortunately, got to blame everybody, right? But on the ones that are a problem, I would take like a little candy, like a lollipop or a little thing of Smarties, because everybody likes Smarties and they travel well. And I would tape that on there and send it to them. Hopefully that gets their attention. Because here's what happens. So we send this new invoice with the late fee on to Jean, and she calls up and says, $30? I'm not going to pay $30. What's the $30 for? And it's a new late fee we have. Well, I didn't know that. Oh, do you remember the Smarties you got? The little Smartie candies? Yeah. Well, that was attached to the late fee notice. Oh, is that what that was? But I'll tell you what. Pay the balance. I know I might get in trouble with the boss for this. I'll just go ahead and drop the late fee. Right? So now you're doing her a favor. Okay, I'll do it. Done. So now if you want to take off the late fee, you can still go to the invoice. And it's just like any other transaction, right? So here's the late fee. Just click the little trash can there. And now it's gone. Don't click the trash can on the 1812. That's not right. But just that late fee, and then save and close. And if it were me, I would only do this when I've got the check in hand or the payment in hand. I put a note that she promised, but at the same time, promises are one thing. So see how it went back to the original amount. So in her case, now you can receive payment. Oh, and I could have done that from the other screen. So this time she's not paying the late fee because we reversed the charge. So see how that works as a carrot and stick? Especially on large amounts like this, because $30, that's a good amount.
So we got the payment from her?
Yeah. So go ahead and receive payment, but just the original amount, not the late fee, because I agreed. And that's why, it doesn't cost anything to say sorry. So you can say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, I understand. Those are frustrating, aren't they? See, we're in agreement and we're against the system. And you can even, sometimes people will do this. Sometimes they mean it, but sometimes it's disingenuous. They'll say, you know what? Oh, I think I can do it in the computer system. You want me to try that for you, see if I can reverse it? But I can only do it if I get the payment. But I can give it a try. I took a class. I think I remember doing something like that. But it's like you're doing this risk, right? I'm going to have to go out of my way to help you, but I'm willing to do that. And now, say that you make a happy customer that way. And of course, do I really care? No, I know how to do it, but I want that money. So if I get the money in, it's good. And I think I mentioned we had one student, she was really good at that. And I hired her to do all their claims problems. And I said, oh, that's terrible. Now it's all you do. She said, it's okay. I like it. Because if we can come up with something, everybody wins. And I'm happy. I feel like I've actually done something for somebody at the end of the day. I said, oh, that's good. Hope. Yeah, well, you know what the Peter principle is? It's in a book. The Peter principle is you are promoted to your highest level of incompetence. Meaning, if you're good at something, right? Like she's good at this. Oh, great, let's make her a supervisor. Well, she's not necessarily a good supervisor. She's good at this. So she goes to supervisor and does terrible. So that's where she stays. On the other hand, if she's a great supervisor, oh, let's make her a vice president. So they move her up to vice president. Now she's not very good vice president. So that's where she stays. So that's the Peter principle is you're always promoted to your highest level. And that's the problem is sometimes, like in her case, I'm not the company, but to me, that is such a special, rare characteristic. I would make whatever I had to do, a new category of employee, I don't care. I want to promote her doing this. I don't want to take her out of doing this because nobody else can do this like she does. So that would be my opinion, but they didn't ask me. So I don't know what happened to her, but I imagine, that she was so good with it that's gold. You're a company. You got customers who are difficult and then she made them happy and got the money. Oh, terrific. Because like I said earlier, all the mechanics of this are pretty straightforward. It's the people element that always gum things up. So, okay, let's do Warren. But Warren wasn't up to my tactics. So Warren's gonna have to pay the full amount. Plus the late fee. So I'll do late fee. And this time, I'm gonna do a flat rate. $5 straight up. And that's what that would look like. And then when I tab, see now it went up to 105.65. Save and close. Mhm. I didn't, because like I said, there's two ways to do it. One is a percentage and one is a flat fee. Usually it's one or the other. You can't do a flat fee and then well, I just lied. You saw at the beginning, you can start off with a flat fee and then a percentage afterwards. So it's like it's always increasing. You'll notice up here, by the way, see this invoice, it says late fees off. That's because the computer remembers that we just turned it on. So all this activity occurred before we turned it on. So you can't automatically do it, but we can manually add it here. So it's just a $5 fee and then save and close. So you could do it either way. And then if this is not paid next month, I start doing the percentage. Or you could do another $5. But again, you have to have told them ahead of time, here's what's coming, here's how it's going to work. And if you don't like it, pay your bill, right? Or dispute it. I mean, that's the other thing too, is it could be a real dispute. Like I shipped it, but they didn't get it in the mail. Okay, well, let's do that. Call me and tell me that, and then that's a whole other thing. And then we won't charge late fees. See, I can be reasonable. Most companies are, because like this stuff, it's one of those things. It's just so few customers who will do it, but it drags down the whole office trying to deal with it all. So anyway, this time we'll receive payment. and save and close. Ta-da. And now Warren. This is marked closed. Got a balance of 0. All good. So go ahead and do that at a flat fee in the last transaction. And then we'll get that done and we'll take a look at our late fees, how much money we're making. So a lot of customer service is about psychology. And go ahead and receive the payment and save and close. So now when I go back to my customers, nothing's overdue. Now I still have a couple that are outstanding here, but they're not past due yet, based on their terms and their dates. But as far as overdue, 0. So that's why those terms are so important, because those are basically the legal terms that you're offering them. And if they don't follow them, and you've told them they could have a late fee, then they incur late fees. Let's click on our chart of accounts and the check register. I don't know about you, but collecting those put me over my $10,000 start amount. And
Under the chart of accounts, how do you get to the
you'll see checking, it's probably on the first line, and view register on the right hand side. Right like that. And there they are. So everybody's happy again.
It doesn't matter if we get less than your total. I have 10,000.
Oh yeah, you won't, because I'm doing all kinds of different sales than you, but I just happened to notice on mine I was under the 10,000 we started with. You beat me because you were over. I just noticed on your screen you were over 10,000 before we started this. But you know that's not a competition.
I was about to go, I mean, I did go over you, but then we were making the payment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will you be showing us later how to look up and our side to see who is going to owe us at what? Like a report? You look at, oh, that's the aging report.
Yeah.
Aging report.
Yeah, we can do that right now. Before we do that though, let's take a look here. So in the filter by name, I'm going to take the word late. You can scroll down and find it, but if you put the word late up here, it'll do a search. Right up here. So the chart of accounts. Write this out. So just like we did for our checking, yeah, type in the word late. And from here, you can run this report on the late fees, because you'll see late fee income.
It only shows, the person who we charged a late fee on.
Right.
But I was looking to see if we can make, like you said, an aging report to show.
Okay.
It's gonna be due.
Switch to the top to all dates. Yeah, I should have done that beforehand, because you won't be able to see now. You can still run it. But if you switch to all, you can see the late fees here. Right at the top up here, all dates.
Mine doesn't have that, so you have to scroll up.
Yeah, if it's cut off, it might look like this.
Right, I couldn't even get to the late.
Okay. go back.
Yeah, she doesn't have that.
You don't have late fee?
She doesn't have the lookup on the filter.
Really? Why? Oh, because you're okay. Sure. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Now, you felt like it. It's in the list. You just have to scroll down. I believe it's other income. So they're grouped by type. And about 3/4 of the way down here. There's always that loan expenses. Other income. There it is. So you can find on the list. Well, okay, so run the report. And then at the top, what we did is it's based on the date of their original
Yeah, of
invoice.
the invoice.
So up here at the top, all dates. And then run report. And they're there. So did you click all dates? I think you were short one because when you paid them all, but that's okay. You're just nicer. Hey, if you get, it's not even necessarily about being nice. If you get them paid, late fees, it's only like what, $11.50 here. It wasn't worth my time talking to them. But if it got their original amounts paid and my book's clean, then it was worth it. And then reports. And then hopefully next time it won't be such an issue. But you know what you do is, okay, now I was a nice guy. Gene, who owed me $1,800. I say, thank you for your payment. By the way, our terms have changed. It's now due on receipt. I'm going to take away your 30 days because I don't want to have to deal with this again. Or cash up front. Okay, so if we go back to reports, click on reports, it'll show you all the reports. It's under the business overview. And then as you scroll down, I believe it's under who owes you. Now, again, you got the detail and the summary. In our case, it won't matter because we fixed it all. I'll click on the aging detail. Oh, that's right. I forgot. We did have people who we didn't pay because we only got the ones that we were charging late fees because they were, by their terms, overdue. These people, by their terms, are technically not overdue because of their terms don't require it. So that's why they don't show up in overdue, but they will show up here in the aging summary. I mean, I meant to do that so we could look at this report and see that. But if the others had not paid yet, they would be on here too.
It's the due date on January 20.
Because that's what we imported.
Oh, that's right.
I want to make sure, actually that's lazy, I didn't update them, but I wanted to make sure they'd be in the old items, and it could be. So we're looking at 91 days. If we had some, we're 30 days, you'll see 30, 60, 90. And that's usually where it cuts it off. It just groups everybody together with the 90. So that's why you see it like that. Any questions on that?
So the aging report is for
Who's not paying that they're supposed to pay? If we had a current invoice, it would show there. So I'm going to switch over to customers real quick. I'm just going to make a quick invoice. In fact, I'm not even going to do that. I'm going to click new invoice. I'm just going to make one up and then rerun the report. But it doesn't count if they paid, so they can't pay. And I'll pick Mary again. Okay, so I just made a quick invoice. Mary, she bought 2 puppy leashes. Okay, so now I go to my receiving summary. And there's hers. Yeah, she's current because it's got 30 days. So see that there? Shows her name, shows her current. Everybody else is 91 and over. I can go back again in the reports.
So she still has time?
Yep.
30 days?
I gave her 30 days. Fair enough. That was the summary. If you go to the detail, it looks a little different. See how it groups them together? So she's under current down here, and everybody else is 90 days more or more.
Huge nice.
I want to be nice. We are working with a subcontractor, and somebody got dates wrong. And I said, well, let's go ahead and do it. We'll get it done today. I said, that's okay. I talked to them. They're fine. She's easygoing, easy to work with. And I said, well, I found easy to work with people. If you want to keep them easy to work with, make them happy. So I said, it's no problem. We'll just readjust some things. We'll get it done. And sure enough, by the end of the day, he got it. So I said, good. Because, it's easy to think, well, Dan's so easy and nice. I know I can be late and then get taken advantage of. And that's not fair either. And once again, it's one of those things where it just takes one or two people to mess it up for everybody. Because if I get in a bad mood, now I'm in a bad mood for everybody, even if they've been good customers in the past. Well, I was mentioning the other day about business to business. A lot of companies love that because you're not dealing with the general public. Nothing wrong with the general public, except you've got a wide range of people, and you never know who your customer is going to be. And it's true with businesses too, but they've already, gone through the process of creating a business, so they are probably more anxious to keep things in balance. But if you're good at it, general public can make lots of money. Okay, let's go back to reports again while we're here. Let's do sales by customer summary. So if you scroll down, sales by customer detail is a favorite, but I want to run the summary. So for the month of February, here are my best customers. At the top, where it says this month to date, I'm going to change it to all dates. And then you have to run report.
Sorry, where did we go?
So I went to scroll down until I got to my customers. Again, there's two versions of this report. There's sales by customer detail, but I want to see the summary. So you scroll down under sales and customers. And on the right side, there's the summary. So I'm going to click on the words, sales by customer summary. So you'll see this is specifically for this month, meaning February 1st through February 7th. There's my sales. I go up to the top here though and say, you know what? I'm going to include everything. And all means all. It means the 2022 dates too. So when I do that, I have to use the run report button because it doesn't activate. Because the reason it doesn't, I don't know if this helps as you're working with it, to think about how the computer thinks. I could be changing these columns and things too. So I can make all these changes and then run it. So it's still waiting for me to say, all right, any other changes? I can even switch it from accrual to cash basis. So then when I've got all my changes made, run it. And then it runs the report. And there you go. So now, of course, see Rob, who hasn't paid, is still my best customer. $9,000, but you can see their totals all on. And just like those businesses that are seasonal, sometimes you've got customers that are they call them the whales because they're the ones who spend the most money. But you got to be open to everybody in order to get them. But those are the ones you specialize in. And then, they're the ones who get the coupons and you do the nice things for, send them a birthday card or whatever, because those are the ones you really want to make sure are happy. When my son, yeah, yeah, look at Bob $76.
No, because when you said birthday card and all that, it went ding, you know, you did.
I got one for my insurance.
Yeah, so we could-
When I
10
bought a
days.
car once, they sent me a plant, and it's just me. I just don't think right, because when I got the plant, I thought, instead of thinking, oh, that's nice, I thought, oh man, I should have asked them for less money on whatever cost the plant was, because I don't want a plant, but I want them to save the cash. But no, it was a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And
There was care packages, like what's not.
yeah, see, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We bought our house, we got one like that too. Yeah, all right. But I'm thinking, when I was negotiating, I should have asked lower.
But what's funny is that because my husband bought his vehicle, the work truck from Thompson Chevrolet, and the following year, he bought my car, but he got a car, care package.
Oh, really?
And when we got my car the following year, we didn't get anything.
See,
Yeah.
call him, tell him.
On both of our cars.
Actually, what you could say to your husband is, see, I'm a better negotiator. They can't afford to send me anything, so I got a better deal. When my son was in football, they had fireworks sales, and they told us they had to go to this whole training, and they said, you're going to sell all your fireworks 4th of July or the day before, but you got to be open the whole time, because if people don't see you there, when they think about fireworks, they won't think of coming to you. So we had to stay out there, staff, doing nothing. 1 or 2 people would come by, but that's about it. And then sure enough, and they said, if you can have somebody who will work the 4th of July, that's the best, because people run out of fireworks. The other fireworks booths, because they're volunteers too, they want to be with their families, they close. They said they'll come to you desperate for more fireworks because they want to go blow them up when they get home. And yeah, so it worked. So I mean, any business knows the ins and outs, and then you have to adjust if you want to be in that business. Now, you don't have to be there on July 4th, but you won't make all that extra money and sell out. And the deal was, and I didn't know this, is they give you the fireworks. You can ask for more, but you're responsible for them. Whatever you sell, half goes to the company. They say, here's the list price. So a $10 firework, we get 5. Now, if you want to sell it for 6, you can, but we're still getting 5. You can cut your prices if you want to undercut other people as much as you want, just still get 5. So when you see the prices, we'll give you 25% off. Okay, they're taking a cut on their end, hoping to sell more and be your fireworks specialist. So I figured out, see, the problem is never sit there with nothing to do, because you have terrible thoughts. I realized you always read in the newspaper about high school band fireworks got stolen. And then the next week, people come to the rescue of the band and donated all this money. I thought, we need to get these fireworks stolen. Then I don't have to sit here, and everybody will just donate, and we'll make twice as much. But anyway, each business is unique. So here we go. This is our sales for today, or for this year so far. Any questions on how we put the late fees in? Yeah, pretty straightforward. Sometimes, customers will threaten, like, you better not do this, or I'm going to sue, or I'll get my lawyer. And then, the natural tendency is to get your hackles up and say, oh yeah. But on the other hand, if you play the game, you can say, oh, we don't want to get lawyers. Oh, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Look, I'll tell you what, I'll drop the late fees. If you give me payment by tomorrow, I'll drop the late fees. Again, that's what I want in the first place. But now they think, yeah, I showed Dan. Great, show me the cash and I'm happy. All right, so then we're done for the day. Tomorrow's embezzlement day. Catch those embezzlers. If you really want to embezzle, the good business is marijuana dispensaries, because marijuana is still illegal federally, no matter what the state of California says. So they can't get bank accounts. So they are dealing with all kinds of cash, and that cash flying around, easy for something just to get stuck in your pocket.
one for me, one for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that you can't. It's because all the federal banks know we give you an account, then all of a sudden the feds come after us for selling marijuana, for being part of the drug trade. And so as long as it's still a scheduled illegal drug, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever, but that's the way it is.
That's what that show Tulsa King about.
Yeah.
Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't. That having that much cash, that's just asking for trouble.
Sorry.
No problem.
Bye. Yeah, bye.
See you tomorrow. Good night.
Good night, Karina.
You're welcome. Have a good evening.
Night.
Good night.
Hey, you're still here.
Yeah, wrapping up.
No, I mean from Christmas.
Oh yeah. Oh, we got another class starting in 2 weeks, so
Do you?
to be the advanced class.
Oh, wow. What was this one tonight?
Beginning quick bookkeeping.